located in Brazil. And we have a special guest, Abe Hernandez, Abraham Hernandez, a good friend of mine. And today is going to be different, a little different. You're used to the interviews happening on a Sunday afternoon, but Abe is all the way in California. So we have like a huge gap in between times. And because he's a very busy person as well. So, hi, AB. Welcome. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
Hi, Fernanda. It's really, really good to see you again. Always a pleasure. You're so much fun and always a very interesting person. If I can say that. No, but it's my pleasure to be here in your show. Now that you have this platform to communicate with everybody, I love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, as I always start, the reason why I invited you, it's because I've been following you as a professional, and you've been inspiring people in your career and the things that you do. So, first of all, let's introduce yourself to everybody on my Facebook. I want you to tell me where you're from originally, where you're living right now, and that's it.
Yeah, well, hello, everybody from Brazil and US and Europe and in the world. I'm Abraham Hernandez, so I go by Abe. That's how they call me here in the States. So I live in Los Angeles, California, but I'm originally from Mexico. So if there's any other Mexicans there, hola, hola. And yeah, I've been in the fitness industry for over 20 years now. I started when I was young, like around 10 or 12. No, just kidding. No, no, no. I started when I was 23, so I'm 44 years old right now, and loving it. No regrets, right? No, but I've been in the fitness industry for a while, and I started with a small spinning studio in Mexico in a little town. It's called Guanajuato. There's a lot of history in Guanajuato. It's my favorite town in Mexico. And so I opened my spinning studio, and then it was growing and growing and growing until it became a full gym with weights and more classes and massage therapist, a cafeteria, locker room, everything. So it was a lot of fun seeing how everything started small and then started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I got involved with Zumba 15 and a half years ago, because Beto came to Mexico I think it was the second time. But I didn't know exactly what Zumba was. I used to have the old VHS, not even the DVDs, the VHS from Beto, because I used to teach a class, like a dance fitness class, before I discovered Zumba. And then I saw the infomercial. I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks so much fun. And I got the information and started copying the movements from there in my classes. And then when I found out that Beto was coming, I'm like, okay, let's go. There was another instructor and me in my gym, like, hey, you want to go? I'll pay for your certification. And she was like, yeah, totally. So we went to take Beto's training, and I got into Zumba, and it changed my life. Like,
Wow.
you have no idea.
So let's just go back a little bit in time before we go into those details. Go back to Mexico when you were a child. I always say like this because as we are growing up, we always say, oh, when I grow up, I want to be something. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. What did Abe wanted to be when he was growing up?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I wanted to be a pilot.
Wow. Why
I
is
wanted
that?
to I wanted to fly airplanes. That was the dream when I was a kid. Every time that I saw an airplane passing by, I was that little kid saying bye, like, "Hey, hi, adios, adios," you know. So that was the dream when I was a little kid.
Very nice, very interesting. And how was your childhood? Was it in a big city, in a small town? What did you like to do?
Yeah, man, you're asking questions that nobody knows.
That's why I say inspiring people. So, we want
Uh,
to know everything.
It's great, you know, because I always tell people that sometimes, especially here in the States, we take things for granted, you know. For instance, in my childhood, I was born in a very small town in Mexico, in the state of Tamaulipas, and my family didn't have a lot of money. My dad, he started his residency as a doctor, but he used to work at the general hospital, so it wasn't anything fancy. It's not like the doctors here, you know, that they make a lot of money. Over there, it's not the same at all. And my mom was a nurse, so that's how they met. And so we used to stay with my grandma, my mom's mom, for a long time because they were always working. They were really hard workers. My mom is retired, and my dad passed away when I was 19. And but I don't know. For me, it was so much fun climbing trees, playing with my uncles. I have a they were my youngest no yeah my youngest uncle probably was like 6 years older than me.
Wow.
So yeah, my mom had a lot of sisters and brothers, a lot of siblings, but it was so much fun. And he was the one that always working out, so he got me like the little seed, like, oh, I want to be like my uncle, you know, because he used to dance too. He taught me how to break dance.
Oh, that see, so there is like an influence in there, right?
Yeah. So we used to go to the other block to do some dance battles with the break dancing, and it was so much fun to grow up there in my
There was
grandma.
no like the kids today, right? All in
No,
the cell phone, and you talk to them. Uh, wow, and then they go back on the games and stuff, right?
not at all. We used to play with friends. We used to be outside all the time. We hated to be inside. Now it's the opposite, right? And we used to play marbles, and then with a little Hot Wheels kind of, and all that, and then all that little kids together. We used to have this. One of my favorite games is called Stop. So you used to draw a circle and then divide it in different countries, and then you declare war to this country. But there was this kid, everybody run, and it was just the type of games that we used to play, and it was a
It
blast.
was like the good life, literally,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And you never thought about being a doctor or a nurse. I mean, you said the pilot, but then because of mom and dad, it never came to you. Say, I want to be just like mom and dad.
No. You know,
Oh,
I have two sisters, and none of us wanted to be doctors or nurses. I don't know exactly why. I just remember my dad used to have these books about. He was a dermatologist, so he got these books with pictures of diseases and stuff, and it was like very
disgusting.
yucky. Yes. And then he came home and tell us stories about, like, oh, I got this patient that got this issue, and we were like, "Ugh, we don't want to know." And I think it was that. And we grew up in hospitals, kind of. We spent a lot of time there every time that we went to visit my mom and dad. And I think we just got tired of it, you know, like, I don't want to, it smells funny, and you see sick people all the time. So probably that's why we didn't want to work as in the medical area, you know.
I understand that. And then you said so you used to play with your uncle because he likes to dance as well. And did you ever attend any dance class or did something between like childhood and a teenager, or it was just for fun?
Okay, there's another story that nobody knows. In school, when I was in elementary, there was only always, it was not a dance, it was a requirement to dance every holiday, every Mexican holiday, or the UN holiday, for instance. We used to dress up as different countries. So we used to do like little performances. Every single student had to do that. And it was a good thing representing, you know. So I was doing that for the whole elementary school. So 6 years I did that, six years straight. So sometimes it was representing a state, representing a country, representing a culture. Sometimes it was like the Mexican Indians or indigenous, or the northern Mexico, or Argentina, stuff like that. So that was kind of about the things that I used to do, folkloric dance, And I think a lot of my generation, we did that. We grew up doing that.
So do you feel like this kind of like it was another seed that, made you think, oh, this could be a profession in one day or something?
Uh, Not as a dancer. When I met Zumba, it was more about the fun part, because I was already doing fitness. But when I met Zumba and when I met Beto, it's just having fun and he was in really good shape. So I'm like, I want to be like this dude. And he's having a blast. And that's what I
Oh,
wanted to do.
so as growing up and your teens and everything, did you think that, okay, so I'm gonna go to a fitness college, or is that something that I will consider doing when it was time to decide going to college? It was that thought that you had it first?
Well, before college, not really, because there was no fitness in Mexico, period. There was no gyms. It was just the gyms that they used to have. It was just old machines to lift, like weights machines, and that's it. And the little town that I grew up, there was nothing because of that. There was no part of the culture. And then when I moved to a bigger city, we're talking about a 3 million population. So it's a big city.
Wow.
And it's when we discover more sports. So I used to be in gymnastics. My two sisters and I, we did gymnastics for many years. And then my dad used to play volleyball. So my whole family knows how to play volleyball. So sports, it was always part of it. But fitness, I think until I was probably in high school is when I saw the first gym for real. And I went to work out a couple of times, but I didn't enjoy it. But like, no, I like sports better. I like to be with people and kick a ball or throw a ball or whatever. And I didn't know about fitness classes until I was an adult.
Interesting. Wow. So what did you do for college, if I may ask?
Actually, I wanted to be a graphic designer.
Well,
That's
wait a minute. From pilot, from saying adios to the airplanes, and then where did this come from?
Yeah, I used to draw all the time, some sort of like comic style stuff, like big eyes and big faces and little bodies and all that, like kind of a cartoon-ish.
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't know exactly when, but it was in high school. We took a class about drawing, but it was more like buildings blueprints, like architectural stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed it. It was like calming, like, oh, I love drawing lines and all that. And because of that, I'm like, what about graphic design? I don't want to be an architecture either, but what about graphic designer? And I always considered myself creative. So I'm like, I can see myself doing that. But in order to do that, I needed to move to a different city. But my dad was not okay with that. My dad was like, no, one, we cannot afford it. And two, I don't want you away. I want you to stay with the family.
The typical Latin American family, right? That
Yeah.
wants everybody like under their, control. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't do that. I couldn't pursue that. And then my second option was computers. So I have a bachelor degree in computer systems engineering.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing to do with fitness.
But have you ever worked in this area, or you just
Yes,
have the diploma?
No, I worked, I want to say about 6 months. I used to I used to make websites because I used to work with a website designer. So she used to do all the graphics and stuff. And then I built it and I put it together in a website. when not a lot of people knew how to build websites. So it was a good gig, but I didn't like to have a boss. That was
Oh,
the thing. The boss
okay. You work
coming
by
late.
yourself, right?
Yes, because my boss was always coming late to the office, always on the phone. You know, he was the seller, so the salesperson. Of course, he was always selling. But at the same time, I think it wasn't fair that he didn't give us credit. It was more like, oh yeah, we just made this, or I just made this, and I'm selling to this person, and we needed to be there at 8 a.m. every single day. And then he came at 10:30, 11 after he ate something or with the girlfriend. Like, I don't like this. I don't enjoy to be an employee.
I feel it. So then those 6 months went by, and what did you do?
And then everything starts because of a girl.
There is always somebody in the middle.
Always, right?
Yeah.
No, but,
So
it's true. I used to date this girl, and she started working at a spinning studio. She was the receptionist. And you know, every time that I finished school, I used to go and pick it up and take it home, and that's it. And so she really wanted to try it. I didn't want to try it because for me spinning was boring. It was like everybody's just pedaling a bike going nowhere. Like, what's the point? And she was like, we should try it, we should try it, it's a lot of fun, and this is this. So I was like, okay, let's give it a try. So I took one class. I was dying with my tongue out, like, this is so hard.
never came back. I tried once. I never came back.
Yeah, but for me it was the challenge, you know. Every time that I have a challenge, I have to do it again. If something hurts, it hurts in either bad way or good way, right? So for me, it was like a good way because I would love exercising. And at that time, I stopped exercising because I was too busy in school and with my girlfriend. And so it's something that we decided to do together, and we kept going and going, and I got good at it, and I got invited to be an instructor. But I said, I'm busy right now, I cannot do it. And then when I finished school and I started working, I kept going. uh, and then I got the opportunity to open my own spinning studio, and that's how everything started.
Wow. How interesting. You never like it. And then all of a sudden you are the owner of your own, right? Spinning
Yeah.
studio. Isn't that interesting? And then that's when you start like looking into getting to know more about fitness, I assume, right?
Yeah, so I started like a lot of instructors with no certifications, but actually my computer's background helped me because at that spinning with my ex-girlfriend used to work at, I used to burn CDs for all the instructors because they didn't know how to burn CDs. So I was the one like, oh, I can burn a CD for you. Just tell me what songs you want. They didn't know internet. They didn't know how to get songs. So that was the thing that I was good at. Like, so I put a playlist together for instructors. So I knew how to set up playlists for spinning. I
Mm-hmm.
knew about interval training. I knew about endurance training, strength training on a bike. So I got good at that. And then I was like, well, I mean, let's open one. So we moved to a different city because that city is too big, and there was already like 8 or 10 spinning studios. So we were asking in the other little towns, and we found this one, Guanajuato, and there was no spinning studios, like zero. They didn't know what it was. So we were like, this is perfect. We have to do it here. So we did it, and it was very successful. And then eventually I got my certification. So I started with no certificate, and then because there was no certifications back then, and then when they started doing them, like, okay, let's take it. So we got certified, and it was just my girlfriend at that time and me teaching spinning. We were the only instructors in town.
I think it's so interesting when you look back and say there was no certification because we learn with life. You learn with experience because you're doing and watching somebody do, and then you start getting good at it, and then I think you just build something that, okay, what can I do to make myself better? and then you found out about certifications. And then that's when you got your personal trainer, or not yet?
Not yet. So this one actually, those there was a spinning certification, and it was only under invitation. So there was another instructor that, because in order to get a certification course, yeah, you needed to hire the master trainer to come to your studio. So they were private. They were not like the way they are today, open to the public and a lot of marketing. It was just one studio owner bringing the master trainer to their studio, and then this owner, he used to invite instructors. So she knew me from the other spinning studio, and like, hey, Abraham, I'm gonna have a course here. Would you like to take it? I'm like, yeah, of course. So we went to take it to her studio, and that's how we got certified, and we brought the real spinning program to our studio and then eventually I started getting more fitness videos because my studio was growing. So we rented another space, and there was another instructor willing to teach some sort of Pilates classes. So she was asking me like, hey, what are you teaching in that little studio? I'm like, nothing. It's just open for people to stretch and whatever. Will you be interested in me teaching this kind of a stretching Pilates classes? I'm like, sure. Can I rent it? Yeah, for sure. So she was paying me and she was charging to her students, and then we made a deal. So we started making memberships so they could take my spinning classes and her class at the same time. And we just split the money. And then, so I started growing and growing. And one time I got my friend that he got a couple of dumbbells. So he said, hey, can I leave my dumbbells here? And every time that I want to work out, just come and use them? Sure, why not? So he brought his dumbbells, and then I started using them. He never came back to the gym. So I started.
Are you kidding me?
Because he said, I have it at home, but I don't use them. So if I want to use them, I'd rather come here in an exercise place, right? And that's going to be more motivating. But he never came back. So I was the one using them because I started noticing the results. I didn't lift weights before. So it was just spinning. So a lot of cardio. So I got just like really skinny. So I started lifting weights, super basic. And I really liked it. And then I got one person, it was random, things happen for a reason. So there was one stranger came to my gym, and then he said, hey, I have some equipment that I want to get rid of. Do you want to buy it? And I'm like, okay, what is it? Okay, so let's meet at my house and I can show it to you. Sure. So I went to his house. So he got just a bench, a bar, and plates. So I got a really good deal. So we brought it to the gym. And then at that town, there's a lot of foreigners that come to study Spanish. There's a bunch of little Spanish schools. So there were some students that came. They saw the machines. Like, hey, can I use it? Sure, go ahead. And I started watching what they were doing. So they were lifting this way, lifting this way, lifting this way. So I was like, And then I started doing that, just imitating.
Imitating.
Yeah, and that's how I learned how to lift weights. And then eventually I met this guy that used to build equipment. So I asked him, hey, will you build a machine for me? Yeah. So he did that. And then I started studying more, going into the internet and read. And then eventually I met the right person that offering certifications. And it's when I got my personal training certification. But it was a Mexican one. So it was not like super fancy. I just knew what I was doing and to be able to train all the people. And then later I got my AFA, but it was like years later.
Oh, and then you said, so who found who? Zumba found you, or you found Zumba? Because you said Beto came to Mexico, but you did not know anything about Zumba, because especially thinking about 15 years ago, it was like so brand new. How did you get to pay attention on something that, a guy was coming to Mexico and he dances and he's cool? How did that happen?
Oh, it was because of the infomercials.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So I used to host a class in my gym with a different instructor. He was a professional dancer, salsa dancer, that we met at a club. I used to go out to this club to dance salsa. That's how I learned how to dance salsa. I know how to dance salsa in a partner, and I've taught, but back then I didn't know anything. So I started going to this club, and it was the most popular club, and it was like really close to my gym. So after I closed my gym, just get ready, go out dancing. And so I started learning different salsa moves, and then I met all these dancers. And then he came to my gym, like, "Hey, would you be interested in letting me teach salsa classes?" And I said, "Yeah, but this is not a salsa club, and I don't have a lot of men, honestly. So what if you teach a salsa without a partner, more like solos, but with music?" He's like, "Oh, I can do that." And he started teaching that. And then he started adding more rhythms like merengue and cumbia, not just salsa. And everybody loved his class. He started with one class, and then he got two, and then he was teaching 4 a week. And then he moved to San Francisco. So he said, "Abraham, I'm moving." So I'm like, "Who's gonna sub for you?" "You." And I'm like, "No, I don't want. I don't know how to teach that class. For me, it was just spinning. Oh, and back then it was Taibo too. I used to teach
Oh,
Taibo.
Taibo, yeah. Oh my God.
And I learned that from videos too, because there was no certifications in Mexico. And then he trained me, but I just took his classes a couple of times, and that was my training. Because he didn't have a real structure. It was just him and whatever he wanted to come up with, right?
Mhm.
And so I learned what he knew. And then is when I discovered the infomercials, the Zumba infomercials. And it's when I realized, hey, that looks like what I'm teaching right now. And then I got the videos, and I just started mimicking, again, just mimicking other people, right? So I started mimicking Beto's moves. And then because I was subscribed to a fitness magazine, in that fitness magazine, there was a flyer. The creator of Zumba is coming to Mexico to teach a certification. So it's when I say, okay, I'm going, and it's when I invited the other instructor. We went to Mexico City, so we took a bus for 5 hours to
Wow.
to take the training. You know, in Brazil, a lot of people do that, right? Still
We do,
travel
we
by
do.
bus.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are even cross country. Yeah.
Yeah. So so we did that, and it was a 2-day training, not like today. Today's I mean, these days is so easy, but back then there was a
In
test.
Europe is it's still 2 days, right?
Yes, and but for us there was a test. So Beto decided if you pass or no pass.
Oh, it was. I never knew about that.
Yeah, that was back then. And so we needed to create a choreography with a team and present it the next day to Beto. And then Beto gave us feedback, and then he decided, this one, no, this one, no, this one, yes, this one, yes.
Oh my God, that is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And,
they,
did you like it? I mean, you were teaching already, but did you really like blend it with the formula and what was presented? Did you like it?
yeah, because for me, and I think for most Latinos, is what we do at weddings. We play with the lyrics. We play with the lyrics. The lyrics tell us what to do, and we just the chorus. We do the same thing. You know, reminds me of this song, El Venao, that we do this at weddings. El Venao, El Venao. So every time that it says El Venao, everybody used to do that. So it was like Zumba. We're like, oh my gosh, this is just like a wedding. That's how I felt. And on top of that, I don't know, you have taken Beto's classes. So Beto is very fitness as well. And that's what I really liked about him. Like, oh, I can see squats, I can see lunges, I can see bicep curls. And then he was super ripped. Kind of like, I mean, he knows what he's doing, right? He looks like he's training, not just dancing. If he was just dancing, I wouldn't enjoy it that much, because
Mhm.
I always tell people my background is more fitness, but I just love dancing, you know.
Interesting. And then you start teaching right away?
Yeah, so we came back and we changed the name of the format to Zumba. um, And then we started because we didn't get anything back then. There was no zine, there was no
Oh, so you're
videos,
from the time of no zine, no material, no nothing. Wow.
nothing. So, and I always tell this story to people that the manual, it was just a bunch of pictures. The steps, they were pictures. So the Beto 6, they were for not the Beto 6, the 6 count merengue, there were 4 pictures. So I'm like, what are the other 2? He said 6, there are only 4. I was so confused for so long that I had to take the training again. So Beto came back to Mexico the next year, no, the same year, but later, because it was March, and then he came back, I think September or October, I don't remember. So I went to take his training again, and it was okay. So I'm doing it right. I used to tell people, keep taking the training over and over again because you're gonna learn something new every time, or you're gonna notice that you're doing the right thing, or maybe you're doing it wrong. So that's what I did. And then, so when Beto came back in the same year, I was already having plans to move to Spain.
Move
So
to Spain.
yeah, I mean, this interview can last 2 days if you want to. my my story is very, very long.
I
But
just
anyway,
love it. I just love it.
there,
That's you
there
never
was
know
this.
who you're gonna be, touching somebody's heart. Oh, he did that. That's fun. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, no, there was this guy that interviewed me too, and like, hey, we have like 45 minutes. Okay, we didn't finish. But anyway, so yeah, I was gonna move to Spain. There was this guy that wanted to bring me and at that time my girlfriend to Spain to open a gym together. And then because I was going to Spain, I called the Zumba home office like, hey, I'm going to Spain, but I want to bring Zumba to Spain because I did some research and I didn't find any Zumba in Spain. But back then there was another brand called Batuca. Probably you know Jessica Esposito.
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
She used to be the Beto of Batuca. She was
Nice.
she was the face, but anyway, so I called the home office, and then Perman used to answer the phone back then.
Oh my God.
So he was like, "Yeah, we're interested because we don't have Zumba, and there's all this story, da 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 da." So Beto is going to Mexico, so why don't you go and meet him and you guys talk? I said, okay. So I went to another city in Mexico. I drove like 4 hours, I think, that time. And I wasn't taking his training, but I was there to meet him. And long story short, that was my audition. Right there.
Little did you know, you're being watched.
Yeah. So he said, okay, so you're the guy that is going to Spain. I'm like, yeah. All right, because I need somebody good in Spain because this happened with Batuca. They stole the concept and this. Okay, yeah, I'm your guy. All right, so get ready with 2 songs and then you're gonna teach. So it was the first day of that training at that time. So okay, so you want me to come back tomorrow and be prepared? No. You have music? And I had my CDs back then, right? So I'm like, yeah, I have my CDs in the car. Okay, so give it to the DJ and I'll call you in 10 minutes.
Oh
So I was
my
like,
God.
inside, I was like, oh crap. But in the outside, I was like, okay.
Of course. Yeah. No
And
problem at all. I can do it like this, right?
yeah, I was wearing jeans. I wasn't ready. So I just said, okay, let's do it. Because you're never gonna be ready for these opportunities, right? So I was like, okay, I take this opportunity. And so I gave my CD to the DJ, and then he called me on stage. I was in front of 80 something people. And then he said, okay, so guys, I have a surprise for you. This is, what's your name again? And I'm like, Abraham. Okay, so this is Abraham, and he's going to Spain, and he's asking me permission to do Zumba there, and I appreciate that. That shows me that respect and yada yada. So yeah, okay. So he's gonna dance 2 songs for you guys. If you like it, he's in. If you don't like it, he's out. And I'm like, oh crap.
Oh my God.
Now, okay, let's do it. DJ, hit it. And I started teaching the song. And, I just told myself, just have fun. Just no matter what
Of
happened,
course, there was a salsa, right?
no, but wait. Because the first two songs, there were no salsas. One, it was like an Bangra kind of. And the other one, I don't remember what was the second one. I just remember the first one. The second one, I don't remember. And then Beto, after the second one, he said, okay, the next. So DJ play the next. Da-da-da. And I was playing with people, right? Like making him scream and all that. Ooh, ooh. I was doing everything. And because I said, this is my moment, right? And then Beto, next. Another song. Next. Another song. Like, what the heck is going on? And then there was this song. It was a salsa tone. Daddy Yankee, Sabor a Melao. I remember that one. And then Beto said, wait, hold that song. Pause. What's going on? This is my favorite song, so I'm going to do it. So he jumped on stage next to me. So we were both dancing in front of all these people. So for me, it was like a dream come true, right? Like I'm dancing with Beto right here. So that was my audition. And then after that, Beto asked everybody, so what do you guys think? And everybody was clapping. So I was like, oh my gosh.
Like, thank God.
It was a relief right there. Like, they liked me. So Beto said, yeah, okay, you're in. So I became part of the master training, not official yet, but I got his permission to go to Spain and do Zumba. And then I needed to go to Miami to meet the other two Albertos and the team. So I went to Miami. Oh my gosh, that was another adventure, but I'll tell you that later. And so I went to Miami, and it's when I met Tanya Beersley, and I met Gina Grant, I met Eric Santana, Elisa Stone. So I met all
the first crew, right?
Tony Witt. Yeah. So I met them all. And then Beto asked me to dance with Elisa Stone because he played a quebradita. So like, Abraham, Elisa, come here. So we were having fun. And then after that, at that time, Perman saw me. And then he told me, okay, you're in. Oh, perfect. So I went to Spain and I brought Zumba to Spain. I was the first Zumba instructor over there, and I did a couple trainings. But then I came back to Mexico to take care of my gym. So I had to go back, and then I moved to the States. And that's another.
Oh, that's when you moved to the States.
11 years ago.
California.
Well, first I moved to Oregon.
Oh.
Because my ex-wife is from Oregon. So she's American. And we have two kids together. So I have my son, he's 14. He was born in Spain. So when we went to Spain, she was pregnant. And then we came back to Mexico. And then we got pregnant again. But she wanted to have my daughter in Oregon with close to her family. So she flew to Oregon first, and then I went. We stayed there. The plan was just to stay for a couple months and then come back to Mexico. And then her dad decided to give me as a Christmas birthday present my green card. So I was like, oh.
Oh, okay. I accept that too. Yes, if you know anybody, do you have a grandpa for me? I accept right now. I still do that before.
Yeah, so I said, okay. But I didn't want to live in the States. That was the other thing. Like, I don't want to live here. I just want to come to visit. But then he offered that, and actually my mom was telling me, well, take it. You never know when you're going to need it. And I'm like, okay, true. So I accepted. And then everything was easy for us because we were already married. We already had kids. Mm-hmm. And I had my business in Mexico doing good. So it was not like I was planning even to stay. And everything just was falling in the right place, at that time. And I got a job offer at a YMCA in Oregon. So I was approved for my work visa. and I already had a job offer. So it was like, I think it's meant to be. So we decided to stay. I sold my gym and everything that I had in Mexico. So we stayed, but the dream was always, or the plan was always to move to California here in LA, because LA is the mecca of fitness. Everything that has to do with fitness, it's happened here, since Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff. And but things didn't work out with my kid's mom. But I still decided to come down to LA 5 years ago. So it's been 5 years since I've moved here in LA, and so far so good. Lately I've been having really cool opportunities. I think all these 5 years finally are paying off, because I always tell people, you have to enjoy the process. Don't focus too much on the result. The results are gonna come, because if you focus on the results, you're only gonna get frustrated, because
Absolutely.
they're not happening right away. So you have to be patient. But in the meanwhile, enjoy what you're doing. And that's what I tried to focus the last 5 years. And now I think I'm seeing results of that, because I got a couple offers, especially in the last couple of days, that have been like mind blowing. So there's more stories coming.
That's very nice. So what I think it's very interesting is, like, you didn't plan certain things. Like you said, things were happening just because they were meant to be. And then you start focusing on in the fitness area. So I'm assuming that's when you probably start planning on taking your AFA and getting into like D, because you got an offer from YMCA, which is usually something that they have their own program, right? They have their own teaching programs. Am I right? Because here in Brazil, you have to do the white style. You cannot use a brand name or anything. But were you like happy when you just said, I finally kind of find myself in, and that's what I want to do?
Yeah, I got my AFA in Mexico. That was the first one. And then when I moved to the States, I just needed to renew it.
Oh,
But I needed to do my ACE. So I'm a ACE personal trainer. So that one, I took it in English. And that's another advice that I tell all the Latinos, the Latin American, to the Latin American community. Don't be afraid of taking certifications. I did it in English and I failed the first time. I had to take it again because I didn't know enough English back then. When I moved here, I didn't speak all like this at all. I had headaches for 6 months because people were talking to me too fast. I was trying to understand, and it was too hard. And so when I was studying, half of the words I couldn't understand. And then when I went to take that test, the keywords, I didn't know what it was. So I didn't understand the question. So I was just guessing, honestly.
oh God.
So I had to do it again. And that's what I tell everybody. If you fail, worst case scenario, you do it again. And
You
the
got
second
it
time,
again, absolutely.
and the second time, you know what you're doing. The first time, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what to expect. The second time, you know. So that's what happened to me. I did it again. I was more prepared. I actually had a dictionary, not in the exam, but when I was studying. So I
Uh-huh.
didn't understand the word. I wrote it down from the dictionary. So I prepared myself better. I took the test. I passed. And then I took the YMCA one as well as a group fitness.
Mhm.
And then because I started teaching Aqua Zumba, I needed my AEA, which is the Aquatic Exercise Association. That one, they had it in Spanish. So I took it in Spanish and I passed at first try. And then eventually I started taking more just for fun.
And
like I,
I remember knowing about you because of Aquazumba at first.
mm,
Because when we first got Aquazumba in Brazil, you were the one who came with Giuliano. But
yeah.
I remember a friend of mine taking with you in one of the Latin countries. He wanted so badly to teach because I think it was requested of him or something. And we didn't have it in Brazil. So I think he went to Chile or Bolivia. I don't know. It was one of those countries, and he did it with you. So how did you get involved with the aqua, like aerobics and everything?
Well, with my first interaction with aquatics was aqua zumba, and
Mm.
that's another thing that I tell people. You don't need requirements. The beauty of zumba in general, you don't need anything. You don't. There's no requirements. You can do everything that you want. At the beginning, we were criticized because of that. Like there's no requirements, but at the same time, we give the opportunity to anybody or to everybody. Like you have a passion for dancing or for aquatics or for weight training, you can take one of the Zumba specialties, and maybe that's gonna be your call, and you can be awesome. Some of the Zs, they didn't know fitness before Zumba, and now they're representing Zumba in so many countries, you know. So for aquatics, I took the AEA. That was my first experience, and then I started teaching aqua Zumba with as a Zs without teaching aquatics in my life. And then because I understood the science and because I was practicing in the pool, that's how I connected the dots, like experience, knowledge, and practice, you know. And then some people like my style, and then I started getting hired from different countries. Like, hey, they need aqua zumba over there. So, okay, I'll go. You know, like Brazil, I got invited, so I took the opportunity, and thanks to Zumba I've met so many people, amazing people like you, and also I've been in so many countries that I never thought I was going to be in my life. You know, if they would said one day you're going to go to Rio, and I would be like, when? I don't think I'm going to go. And I've been there because of Zumba. You know, it's amazing.
It is amazing. And then, do you teach the other specialties of Zumba, like toning, step?
Yeah, I teach, of course, the basic one, rhythms 2, now rhythms 3, and Zumba toning, aqua Zumba, and Zumba Sentao at convention.
Oh, the very old Zumba Centel that everybody's going crazy about it. Yes, I know. I took mine 9 years ago in London, the conference in London with Marcy, right when it started.
Yeah.
So after all this experience and the passion that you found and the opportunities that you found in Zumba, how did you decide that this was, I mean, it was already a career for you, but how did you say, this is something I want to live doing it, and then you start changing, your mindset, your body, and now you're focusing on this. How did this become, and what's the advantage that this has brought to your life?
Well, for me, it was passion. Passion was the first thing. And something that my dad always told us is if you're going to be good at what you do, no matter what it is, always try your best and always try to be the best, at it. So when I decided, you know what, I love spinning. Again, that was my first fitness love, right? A fitness baby. So I really loved it. I was growing. I was learning a lot. I love the experience. But what I love the most is that I can get to help people. For me, fitness is as an important as a doctor, and it's probably how it related with my dad, because he was a doctor. So for me, my job is as an important because with exercise we can prevent so many illness, so many heart diseases, so many other conditions, diabetes, uh, anxiety, depression, like all that just with exercising. We release all these chemicals in our bodies, endorphins, adrenaline, dopamine, all these that keeps us just feel good, and smile. And that's why I started doing all this, because I love seeing people after working out. I love seeing people's results. When I became more of a trainer is when I started realizing more the results, the before and afters, and then also seeing some of my students become instructors and follow the same passion. That's amazing. And just to inspire people to do the same. I remember I was telling my kids, what do you think I do for a living? And my son told me, well, you teach Zumba. And I'm like, yeah, but what do you think I do while I'm teaching Zumba besides dancing? And then he said, I think you help people to be healthy. I said, exactly. So that's what I do. It doesn't matter if it's Zumba or personal training or spinning or Taibo or whatever. That's exactly what I'm doing. I teach people how to have healthier lives and less health issues. Because if everybody would exercise, we would not be required to go to hospitals. There's a saying that says you have to make time for your health now, or you're gonna have to make time for your illness later. And that's what I believe in, you know.
And if you look at this, the whole, like almost 2 years now, this has been proving from A to Z, that if you were healthier, if you were doing this, if you were doing that, most probably a lot of things would have happened, because all of a sudden one day the door just closes and stay home.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and now what am I gonna do? I just eat junk food. I cannot go out. I cannot work. I start getting depressed because I cannot work, and people are dying and everything. So probably if you had that, people had that mindset of being concerned about themselves, probably a lot of things would have been different, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I went through that too, because everybody went through that at some point. So for me, it was really hard last year, and I got depressed too. And exactly, you said all the bad news, all the things going on, not be able to go outside. I heard that.
You
Not be
heard the car, right? Yeah.
not be able to go outside, and that just feel it claustrophobic kind of, like being locked up. I gained weight. I got lazy. I didn't have equipment at home, so I couldn't work out. Gyms were closed. So I was feeling like I was losing myself. Like this is not me. So I went through my own, I always call it transformation. This year I decided, you know what? I gotta stop. I gotta start eating healthy. I gotta start exercising. So I bought a couple of dumbbells and a little bench, and I'm like, I know how to do this. I'm a freaking trainer, right? I help people. I can help myself. So I decided to do that. I decided to start measuring my food, start making smarter choices, stop snacking, eating my right hours, um, knowing my calories, and then getting more protein, all this stuff that I already know, but I needed to apply it to myself. And I changed physically and mentally. I'm stronger. Physically, I'm leaner. I'm back to myself. I see myself in the mirror now. I'm like, I know this guy. This is the guy that I like. That I enjoy, and that's what I'm trying to tell people now, that if I can do it, you can do it. I'm 44 years old and I'm in the best shape of my life. I look better than in my 20s, right? And it's possible, and I can help him. I can teach him how to do it. I teach webinars that they're a little cheaper than personal training. I do personal training, of course. That's one of the services that I do. I teach classes if they're just interested in working out. So I have a lot of options, and that's the other advice that I give instructors. You have to diversify yourself, because you just focus on one thing. One, you stop growing, and two, there's less opportunities to help people and less opportunities for you to not to either get hired or people to find you, because you can be a really, really good spinning instructor, but not everybody has a bike, or not everybody loves spinning, right? You can be a really good Zoom instructor, but not everybody loves dancing like you, or they need lifts on weights and stuff like that. So the more knowledge that you have, and now it's so easy. You can take any type of training virtually from the best trainers in the world. So you take it virtually, you're going to learn so much, and you can apply it, one, to yourself, and two, to your people. Because I always tell also instructors, you have to lead by example. You cannot tell
Absolutely.
people you're going to have a healthy life if you don't have one.
Everything starts within you. Any change that you do it, either emotionally, mentally, or physically, you have to feel it, because it's always like this. How can I help people if I'm not happy with myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? So are you gonna keep being an actor and actresses all the time? At one point, you're gonna fail. So
Yeah.
you need, and it's interesting, like you said, that at one point you said, something is not right. I need this transformation. And then slowly you start, taking care of yourself, studying again, and getting more knowledge, because I don't think knowledge is never enough, right? The more, the better. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. Erica from Mexico, she says, hello, Abraham. I sent out Z's. Good to see you both. So Erica is a Zcon also, and she represents Mexico. And then I've seen a lot of your videos, and a lot of, your Instagram is extremely focused on not just the bodybuilding, but the being in shape and what's important. And what are you doing right now? What are you trying to send people? What kind of message are you trying to send them?
Yeah, the message is it's pretty much you have to move. No matter what you do, you have to move. If you don't move, your body is just gonna get either sick, or you're not gonna be able to move it later. Especially when we're getting older, if we don't exercise, it's gonna be harder. We're gonna start getting again sick, or our joints are gonna start hurting and all the stuff. The first law of physics, right? A body in motion stays in motion, a body at rest stays at rest. So it's really important. You have to keep moving, and so stay active. Two, make smart choices about your nutrition, because everybody knows what healthy food is. Everybody knows what health food is, or what eating healthy is, but not everybody knows about calories. Not everybody knows about macronutrients, and that's a little bit of the science that I try to teach people. So, like I said, I teach webinars when I talk all about this, and try to teach everybody, or the most people that I can. So that's my message. You can be young, old, or whatever you consider yourself, but you need to start moving and eat healthy, or the right food that your body needs.
That's exactly what my point now. We see a lot of talking about eating healthy. We have a lot of new theories and new ideas. High protein, low fat, no gluten, no lactose, high fiber, no this, no that. Do you follow some of those ideas, or you kind of like eat everything, control portions and everything? What is your mindset on this?
So that's what we call the fat diets, right? So the fat diets is when they have a name, and when they restrict something, like low fat, right? So they restrict fat, or low carb, they're restricting carbs. So juicing, they're restricting solid foods. So every time that they restrict something, is that not usually that the ones that they have a rebound, because eventually when you get it again, it's when poof, you get fat again, right? Or unhealthy. I don't follow any fat diet. I've tried a lot. I never recommend something that I haven't tried myself. And also, in order to know if it doesn't work, sometimes I try it, right? So I tried keto diet. I tried um, Atkins. I've tried many more. But anyway, so what I'm doing right now is what we call either a balanced diet, or a flexible diet, or a flexible nutrition. I eat everything that I like. Sometimes I eat beef, sometimes I eat turkey, sometimes I eat chicken. Those are like my main protein sources. Fish, once in a while. I'm not a great fan of the taste. I love salmon though, but anyway. And a lot of veggies. Veggies are full of minerals and vitamins. fruits, because there's some diets that don't eat fruit because it's sugar. Yes and no. And there's nothing written in stone. There's no one size fits all in fitness. You have to find the rice that work for you. For instance, the gluten-free, I don't care. I'm not allergic to gluten. Does nothing to me. So gluten-free doesn't mean always healthy for everybody. This is my opinion, right? You should avoid gluten if it's bad for you, period. If it's not bad for you, eat it. I mean, you and me, we grew up with gluten and we never had any issues, right?
See,
There
this
was-
is what my mom says because I tried to be gluten free and lactose free. Lactose, I've always had problems.
yeah,
Gluten,
exactly.
after I became a lady, because I'm getting, into the premenopause, yucky moments, I've noticed the last couple of years that I became sensitive to it. And
Hmm.
then not eating, like you said, helps me. And of course, you make some research and then you learn that some people say it's bad for you, whatever. But whenever I go to my mom, she says, "Oh my God, stop with this because you don't eat this. I'm gonna, go to the kitchen and make your own omelette because I'm not gonna worry about it. You don't eat." So, and when I have people at home, it's so interesting because I have my own whatever because I restricted myself with so many things. So that's why I wanted to ask you. So it is a balanced diet, period.
Yeah, I mean, flexible diet, meaning that I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want. I don't believe in that. Don't eat carbs after 7. It's like 100 grams of carbs or 100 calories of carbs is not gonna be. Oh, it's past 7. Now it's 200. It's the same 100. But it depends what time you go to bed. It depends what time you wake up. That's what I'm saying, that everybody's different. Everybody has a different lifestyle. Everybody has a different routine. Everybody has different food sensitivity. So you have to find the right one for you. I can eat pizza if I want to. I just don't eat it every day because the nutritional facts of the pizza are not the best. But there's nothing wrong with it. When I train a client, they ask me, can I eat ice cream? Yes, if you want to, and if you know how many calories you're eating. For me, I count calories, but because I know it's what we call energy balance, energy in versus energy out. I posted about that today, and calorie is an energy unit. So it depends how many calories you eat is the energy that you're gonna have in your body. So if you know exactly how many calories you are burning versus how many calories you're eating, you can either maintain, you can lose, or you can gain weight, fat, whatever. And but also the muscles, they have to be uh, fed, and this is protein, right? So things that I found, I trained some instructors. Most of my clients are instructors. I trained some zest. I trained some strong master trainers, and what I found is that they undereat. They don't eat enough. Like, two of my clients, they're taller, they're more muscly. I eat more than them, and I'm a lean, skinny guy, and I eat more, but because I know exactly how many calories I burn in it, they have no idea. So when we actually make the numbers, they're in shock. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm eating half of what I'm supposed to eat." I'm like, "Yeah." So when you don't eat enough, your metabolism slows down, and what happens? Then you start storaging everything. You have no energy. You don't sleep well. You don't perform well. You're always tired, and that's what the first result that they notice is that, oh my gosh, I have more energy, I'm loving this. And then the muscles start showing because now I'm giving them more protein, and they're loving the results.
So, for example, counting calories. I find it a little difficult, but you are the kind of person that would advise people to weigh their food, understand what they are eating, something like this.
Yes. So I teach them how to balance everything. There's another of my clients, that's what she's learning right now. She said, "Oh my, I never knew all these calories that I'm eating. I never knew I was under eating. I never knew I was not eating enough protein. I was eating one chicken breast a day, but I'm noticing that it's not enough because I use an app to track everything at the beginning. And I tell them, I'm being honest, at the beginning, it's overwhelming to count calories. All right. Because it's a lot of logging your food in. It's a lot of noticing, reading every single nutritional label, and then put it in, and then you forget. It happens to everybody. But then you get used to it. And once you get used to it, it's just part of a habit. And that's another thing that I try to teach people. Start creating habits, of course, healthy habits, like reading, like studying, like going to bed at the same time, like waking up at the same time, like logging your food at the same time. All this that is going to help you to be more organized, and you're going to have time. I'm telling them lately, get rid of the to-do list. To-do list don't work because it's going to be the same to-do list the next day because you didn't do anything. So what I'm asking everybody is put it in your schedule. If you're going to do whatever, even when you're going to eat, put it in your schedule and respect that schedule. Because if it's scheduled, you will do it. It's like having a meeting. If you put in your schedule, I have a meeting at 4:30, what happened? You stop whatever you're doing, and at 4:30, you join your meeting. So if you put in your schedule, I'm going to eat, for instance, my eating time is 1:30, and it's in my agenda. 1:30 to 2:30 is my lunch break. And I respect that. And when people ask me, hey, can you join my meeting? Can we talk? I'm free after 2:30. But you don't have any other time? Like, no, because 1:30 to 2:30 is when I eat and I relax. And then I get back to work, Even when I'm working out, I put it in my agenda. I'm working out from this time to this time, and I try not to move it. Unless there's something, other important thing to do, I move it, but I still keep that time in my day, and I respect that day. I never do. I don't like to improvise that much anymore. When I was younger, I don't care that this, but now I'm trying to be more organized. So not try to put everything, just say yes to everybody. And we have to learn how to say no. That's another lesson.
How to say no, it's the best feeling.
That's another lesson that I'm
every
learning.
time, right? Every time you just open, and what about the things that I have to do, right? And my priorities, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the key. You said it. It's priorities. So that's the other thing. If you don't make yourself a priority, you're never gonna be a priority, and everything is just gonna be more important than you. And at the end, who's gonna pay the consequences? Your body.
Of course. It's Matt from Mexico too, and she lives in Canada. She says gluten-free bread actually makes you fatter. And Erica is saying avoiding inflammatory process is important. What is your opinion of that?
Only if you have issues, like you said, you have issues with it. That's good. I don't have issues with it. I can eat no, I don't want to say all the gluten in the world. But again, it's about energy balance. Carbs don't make you fat. Overeating makes you fat. Protein can make you fat. Fat makes you fat. Carbs make you fat if you overeat. If you eat more than the calories that you're burning, you're gonna gain weight.
Absolutely.
That's the even
That's
if you would
posted today about the deficits that if you want to lose, if you want to have the six pack, you have to be on deficit.
Yeah. And I say this by experience, because that's what I do. That's what I've been doing, and that's how I stay in shape. With all these eating calories. And again, I eat whatever I want. Not every day I eat bad food, but I eat chocolate every day. I enjoy my
normal chocolate or 80% cacao.
I don't like dark chocolate. Just normal chocolate. I eat sugar every day.
Don't say that. Because then I'm going to feel guilty because I don't buy sugar at home.
But sugar is not bad for you. A lot of sugar is bad for you.
Like you said, everything that is too much.
Exactly.
For you, right?
I eat salt every day. And there are doctors that don't eat salt. But salt is not bad. Abusing of salt, it is bad. Or if you have a heart condition or something like that, it is bad. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's different. I'm not gonna give an advice that applies to everybody, except drink a lot of water. Drink a lot of
Absolutely.
water is good for everybody.
That's true. So, what do you do, for example, because of the traveling that usually work demands of you, and then if you go to another country with difference of the time zones and everything, how do you make those your schedule apply? How I mean, sometimes it messes you up, right?
Yes, and that's why again flexible diet is so important, because I know one, I have to focus in my protein first. And that's one advice that I gave my clients. Every time that you're gonna serve your plate, put the protein first and then the rest. Because if you do the opposite, sometimes we go higher in the other things, right? So as long as I have my protein, I know I can eat the rest of the food. Sometimes I get almonds from the plane, but I know exactly again how many calories I'm eating. And once I get to my hotel, sometimes they have something that extra, or I go to a restaurant. I can go on a weekend and go to McDonald's and eat a burger, but I know how many calories I'm eating. I know what I got the 3 hours, 2 hours before, so I just try to balance everything. But
It's all
again,
about balancing and adjusting, right?
yeah, but again, I don't do that every day. I can eat at McDonald's on Saturday, but I don't go to McDonald's every day. Does that make sense?
No, of course. I mean, you know things that are good for you,
Hmm.
period. And then it's not that you're not gonna cheat. Like you're gonna give yourself a chance to sometime taste this or do this if you're not at home. But if you're home, you're gonna try to do the best you can. And how is your exercise routine? Yours, and what's the advice that you usually do for like people who have a super busy schedule? What do you usually tell those people?
Well, for me, it's a combination of both cardio and resistance training, right? So I always recommend everybody, and that's what I do. I move in the morning. I have to move in the morning, no matter what it is, even if it's just stretching or going out for a walk to get the sunshine, the sunlight. That's always good for your body, right? Vitamin D. So I go out for a walk or a run. I usually run. I kind of get bored walking. But I go for a run if I don't teach. If I teach, I don't run in the morning because I'm gonna be exercising.
Uh-huh.
So I teach pretty much every day except Thursdays. But a Thursday I go for a run, and I train weights every single day. But that's me. All right. If I recommend it, it depends how you split your workouts. You can work out with weights every day if you know how to split it. And but I recommend at least 3 times a week to do weight training. That's the only way that you're gonna actually work your muscles and they're gonna grow. You can do body weight training, of course, as well to focus, but focusing on your muscles, not just cardio. I don't do HIIT every day. I don't believe in doing HIIT training every day because that's not good for your joints. Most of the jumps and all the
And how
stuff.
do you do it, for example, because you are a Strong Nation master trainer?
But I don't teach every day.
I know, but you have to learn the new quadrants. And how do I don't know how you guys do it, period. There's 7 days a week, and you guys are zesses of 300 kind of specialties, and then you guys are master trainers, and then material. How do you guys do it?
And that's why nutrition is really important, because of my nutrition. My joints are healthy, my muscles are healthy, I'm getting vitamins, I getting minerals. So all the macros and micro nutrients are really important. So I get all that from my food. I get supplements as well because my job is not like a normal person, so I have to get something extra that I don't get from the food. But the main source of everything is food. That's the first thing. And then the supplements is only when you need something that you don't get from food. All right. And so I get that. And because I'm exercising every day, my body is strong enough. And that's what I tell people, because sometimes I get this question, aren't you tired? And I'm like, yeah, I'm tired every day, but my body is strong enough to be able to keep going, to push it a little harder than normal. But if you don't move, if you don't exercise, of course, the day that you need to do something harder, you're not going to be able to do it, you know?
Absolutely. And what do you do for fun? Like a relaxing moment? Because I'm not
Or
saying that fitness is not fun, but it just became part of you. So, what is something that you say, okay, I don't know, today I'm gonna watch TV, or today I don't know, I'm gonna go fishing, something like this. What do you do for
yeah,
fun?
it depends if I'm with my kids or not. If I'm with my kids, I'm still active. Like when I see my kids, I like to take them for a bike ride or for a walk or something like that. Sometimes I play video games on my phone with my son, or sometimes I'm listening to my daughter dancing. You know, like when I'm with them. When I'm by myself, I love watching TV. That's my thing. So, and that's the other thing, because I can do that because I already work out, I already exercise. So instead of sitting down and watching TV, because if I do that first, I'm not going to work out, I'm not going to move. So I have to move. For me, I have to move, I have to work out in order to earn the right to sit down and
And
watch
watch
TV.
TV. So, are you like, do you wake up when it's still dark outside, or
No,
not?
no, I'm not a morning person. I've
Wow.
never been. But again, I'm really focused and created better habits to be able to live longer. Okay, and to be a good example to my kids and all the instructors and everybody else, but mainly for me, for myself. So I wake up a little earlier. I train one of my clients is in the East Coast, so I have to train him at 7 a.m. in the morning. So I have to wake up at 6:30, a little before 6:30, to just to get ready, because it's virtual, so I can train him in my PJs. So that's the benefit of it. So I wake up 6:30. I get water with lime and apple cider vinegar. So that's one of the things, and it wakes me up and it's good, vitamin C and all that. So anyway, so I do that, and then I train my client, and then after I train my client, is when I exercise. I either go for a run or I teach a class, or sometimes I have another client. I have clients back to back, and then after that is when I move, because I was seated 2 hours, so I needed to move, right? And but yeah, and when I'm not teaching, like today, I usually wake up at 7, uh, around 7, little earlier than 7, and I just wake up and I again my water, and I move. I go for a run or I stretch, and then when I come back is when I get my protein, my food, oatmeal, my coffee. I love
Mhm.
coffee.
Me
So yeah,
too. Do you
so that
believe in fasting and the intermittent fasting?
I did fasting, but it didn't do much for me because I started losing my muscle. Fasting is good if you know how to do it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
good for weight loss. It could be good for maintenance. It's not good for bulking, and that's why I stopped fasting, because I wanted to bulk. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So last year is when I stopped fasting, because I started bulking up. I wanted to gain muscle, and but if I would do it again, no, because my lifestyle is different than 2 years ago when I was doing it. When I was doing it, I wasn't teaching as much in the morning. Now I'm teaching almost every day in the morning. So my body needs food in the morning in order to function, to teach class without getting tired.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm eating a little more carbs than before, because I'm doing more exercise and I need more energy. And carbs are a better source of energy, and faster. So I have to get carbs before my class, so my body doesn't use my muscle to be able to produce energy. If you don't have enough either fat or carbs, your body's when it's gonna start using your muscle. So I don't want that. So I have to feed them before, and then I teach my class, and then after my class, I eat a little more.
A
I eat,
little.
I eat a lot.
So, how do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Because, like you said, things are just, you know, upscaling slowly and getting better. You're learning more about yourself and the job opportunities, and the things are, as we get older, like, it's getting better. So do you have plans? Are you this kind of person who projects the future, and what is in
Yeah.
your mind?
So when I moved to the States, I mean to LA actually, I made this plan. So I said the first 5 years I'm gonna work with my body as hard as I can. I'm gonna teach so many classes. I'm gonna go to take all the instructors classes because I wanna learn. I wanna squeeze everybody's brains. So I did that for 5 years. And then the next 5 years, my plan was to start slowing down a little bit physically, but since I connected with other people, start working more with this, right? Like kind of a 50-50. But because of COVID, I'm 1 year behind. So what I'm doing right now, it's exactly that. I'm slowing down a little bit, but since I started all my fitness journey, I have more energy than the last 2 or 3 years.
Ever before, right?
Yeah, so I can teach classes. I have no issues with teaching classes, but I'm trying to teach smarter. I don't do the whole workout with my people. I coach more.
Mhm.
I try to teach them a little more, like correcting them and focusing on them instead of myself. And and the other thing, in 5 years from now, my goal is to be working less with my body, more with my brain. They say work smarter and not harder. And also do more personal training. Actually, in personal training, there's a little more money as well as teaching group fitness. So I want to focus a little more on that. And then maybe in the next 10 years to be focused in education, just pure education, no performance anymore. Maybe being charged in a company or a brand about the educational department, stuff like that. That would be nice within the next 10 years.
Interesting. And you were telling me before that you're studying to get your nutritional coach,
Hmm.
certification and everything. Just because, like you've been saying, it's important to get better in understanding everything. So probably this would fit what you're saying, that you would be coaching more people and having a better life, right?
Yeah, and I took a wellness advisor certification, and it was a really good one. It was an unexpected one because I wasn't planning to do it, but I know the person that teaches this certification, so she invited me. Says, "Yeah, why not?" And it was a really good one. So I can give a little more advice in how to have a healthy lifestyle, not just fitness or nutrition, but like more like an overall mindset as well. So those are my three pillars when I train a person, and that's what I believe in. I believe in fitness, nutrition, and mental wellness. So if we have those three, and that's an advice that I give all the fitness professionals, you have to find a way to specialize in those three things. If you don't know these three things, by the next 2 or 3 years, you're not going to be as successful, because you can be a really good trainer. I used to be a kind of a sergeant trainer, like, go, come on, harder, because I was just focused in the physical aspect, right? And then when I started learning more about personal training, all the stuff, and it has to do with nutrition and lifestyle, is when I started changing and started focusing also on what's outside the class, what's going on with this person outside the class. And because of that, I started seeing the nutrition habits, and now I'm discovering all the mindset habits and issues that people have. So I'm trying to give them advice in these three different areas, and that's why people are loving that, what I'm
Yes.
trying to teach them. Yeah.
I've been studying integrative medicine, just like it's something that it's what you just said. Uh, First comes from within, and then I have the fitness area, and then I have the nutrition, and then you put all together. You have a full coach,
Hmm.
right? And then you can be the professional.
Yeah.
Vanessa Lorena Vila says, Saludos, Abraham, Próxima live hacemos en español. Mi entrenador de aqua zumba.
Yeah.
Okay. Is medicine a holistic approach? Is it something that I am studying? So do you see yourself having more towards this holistic? Because like now that I'm studying, I mean, it holistic. It's just so big. It's so, I mean, it includes meditation, phytotherapy, herbs, and it's so much to learn. Is that something that you would consider or something that you are studying already?
Well, not at the moment. I think meditation is one thing that I need to do more. I don't know a lot about meditation. I've been reading. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of the that I consider my mentors. They recommend it. They do it, and it's something that I maybe eventually I'm gonna get more interested about, but not at the moment. I haven't practiced it, being honest, and. And since I'm helping people, for me, it's easier to help them with, let's say, all the macronutrients instead of the micronutrients, because in the micronutrients, there's so many stuff, right? That I get invited all the time, like, hey, you want to try my product? Hey, would you recommend my product? And I'm like, I cannot because I don't consume it. I don't do that. And if I haven't tried it, I'm not going to recommend it, like oils and stuff. I know some people really believe in oils. With all due respect, I don't. And why? Because I tried it, hasn't done anything for me. So I'm not gonna recommend them because I never saw results. You know, for
Yeah,
instance, I'm not saying,
you have to believe
yeah,
when.
I'm not saying they don't work because I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just saying that in my case, I didn't work and I don't use them.
Yeah, I've been really focusing on mindfulness, and I mean, for me, like you just said, for me, like I've been sleeping much better because I put those, just soft music and has like the the frequency and stuff, and then I have the app that controls my,
Mhm.
how I sleep and gives me the score, and supposedly I am sleeping better, but I do wake up feeling better.
Yeah,
So
and a question: how do you feel when you see your numbers just going in the right way? Don't you feel amazing when you can see a number, a metric? And
absolutely.
that's what I teach people about calories and macros. When you see the numbers just in the right level, you feel really, really good because you are meeting the metrics. It's not just to stress them out about, oh my God, so many calories. Oh my God, so much protein. It's not just because when you find the right numbers, when you can see it, if you're visual like me, you're going to be like, I'm doing so good, you
It
know?
is. It is. I personally, I need to get better in this because I've downloaded so many apps for count, to count calories, and I am one of those who got frustrated because it says, okay, according to your age, according to the how much you weigh, you have to eat this, and if you exercise 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and blah blah blah, and they give you a supposed number, right? And then every time you just go over or you go too less, and then you go crazy, and then I says, you know what, I'm deleting all of you, I don't like you. So
And that's why we come handy.
I know, I
Because
know.
we can teach you all this because you cannot talk to an app. An app doesn't know your lifestyle. An app doesn't know exactly how many calories you are burning unless you put them in, but sometimes you don't even know. So how are you going to put them in, right? So it gives you according to the algorithm with only the data that you put in. But when you talk to a trainer, when you hire a trainer, we have way more data than just that. Numbers are easy. I can calculate how many calories you need in 5 minutes, just like an app, right? But on top of that, I need to know your lifestyle, and that's another thing that an app is not gonna know unless you know yourself. And
It's
sometimes that's
like
the problem.
it's like oh, what's your BMI? No, it's not. It doesn't really matter because I can have the same BMI as you do, but I could be like an overweight person because I'm short, right?
Mhm.
And there is lots of factors that
Exactly.
it affect. Is there any app that you could give as a suggestion to somebody who's starting and just wanted to, you know, see for the first time, you know?
Yeah, a really good one is my Fitness Pal, and I think it's the most popular one. It could be confusing and a little overwhelming at the beginning. I do consultations. You can schedule a free consultation. So I'm offering all your people here. If you would be interested in talking to me and see if I can help you, or maybe it's a 30 minutes consultation. Again, it's free. We can talk, we can discuss if maybe you're ready to do personal training, maybe not. Maybe I can help you. And if I cannot help you, maybe I can tell you who would be a good fit for you, because I know a lot of people, know a lot of trainers. And but also we can talk about all these numbers and try to understand a little better. I'm planning to do a nutrition webinar in Spanish for all the people asking in Spanish. I did one in English. It was really good. I had really good feedback. I have to share that feedback with everybody. But I'm planning to do more stuff to try to teach people my way of doing things, you know.
Absolutely. And how can people reach you? What's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, I have my Instagram. It's Abraham Hernandez Fit. They can always send me a message there. I will reply. If they need a little more information, I can totally send them my email. I think I can change here. I can give my
Yeah, you
Instagram
can
here.
add it. Yeah.
It's a little long, but
Yeah.
it's right
Or
there.
what we're going to do is after we finish with the interview, that's going to be on Facebook. You go on the comments too, and then you give everybody all, you know, how they can reach you, the information and everything, because then it's going to stay there. And then I'm going to download to YouTube, and then we can share this interview also with a link on YouTube. Um, so for us to finish, I'm sure that we could be, like you said, hours and hours talking because uh, when you're talking about being healthy, staying healthy, there is so much to talk about it. So, what is your advice for people in general? Just like I'm tired and of not being strong enough. I'm tired of not having energy. Where they can start?
Well, actually, I have a really good, I forgot to mention this. I have a really good ebook, it's like 2 or 3 pages about that my top 10 healthy habits that has helped me to stay healthy and get in shape. So if anybody wants it, again, go to my Instagram. It's on my bio link, or just send me a message. I will send you the link. It's free. And all these habits, there's been now a bunch of people that they follow him and they tell me that have helped them a lot too. But in general, I would say uh, move every day. Do resistance training the most you can, at least 3 times a week. Be a little smarter in your food choices, starting with protein, because that's gonna feed your muscle, and and sleep more. That would be my top 5. Drink
Very
and
nice.
drink a lot of water. 6.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is like I have water everywhere. And is there a quote or a saying that you live by?
That's a good question. Um, there's one that it says, "There's nothing worse than a good advice followed by example."
Of course, you
It's
are what you
a little
teach.
it's a little harsh, but that's something that I tell myself when when I started getting lazy. For instance, like, is this a good example? No, it's not. Let's get up. Let's move.
Good, good, good. So, quick questions. Favorite book?
Ooh, Atomic Habits,
And by who?
James Clear.
Interesting.
I recommend that
Favorite.
one for everybody.
Afterwards, we're gonna put it in the comments so everybody can see. Favorite song?
Whew. Uh, that's I don't know. I don't think I have a favorite song, but maybe I know El Son del Dolor by La Cuca. It's from Mexico.
El son del dolor. Is this sad?
It's like a satire kinda, but it's like really it's like rock. It's like Mexican rock.
Oh, it's a raw. Okay. Favorite rhythm.
It depends on my mood. Like if I'm in a dancing mood, salsa. If I'm in a chilling mood, I would say reggaeton. And if I'm driving, hip hop.
Interesting. Ismet is saying, me encanta la cuca.
Yeah, La Cuca is the
¿Qué
band.
es eso? ¿Qué es eso? What
It's
is
the
it?
band, the rock band.
Oh, is that's the name?
Yeah,
Ah, okay, makes sense. Ah,
it's
okay.
because of La Cucaracha, La Cuca.
Ah, la cucaracha. Ah, oh, Daniel Hoffman said definitely it depends on the mood. Daniel is from Iowa. Um, playlist. What is playlist for you?
Oh man, playlist is it's a message. Playlist is a message that you want to give people, either if it's in your class or even a message that you give yourself. Like if you go out for a run, if you do and you don't work out, you play the songs that gives you that message to keep you going, you know. And when you teach a class, you want to choose these songs that give a message for people to keep going.
Absolute. Zumba.
What about it?
I want you to give me a word for Zumba. What does it mean for you?
Zumba, besides passion, life changing.
Strong nation.
A strong nation, challenge.
I agree. Oh my God. Friendship.
Respect.
Marriage.
Agreement.
Your kids.
So many words, but love.
That's just like my mom. You know, she says, you know, I cannot say everything. Okay, Amy, thank you so much. I really appreciate. I wish we could go on and on and on. Maybe we can schedule another day on an afternoon. Of course, it's going to be morning for you, and then we can, you know, get questions from people. But thank you so much. I appreciate your time. You know, on this day, it has been an hour and 40 minutes that we've been talking. I wish we could go longer, but thank you so much. And then um, it was just amazing. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me and be part of your audience. Oh, this is good for your audience, I guess, hopefully. And thank you for keeping me in your little circle of friends. And yeah, we're here to try to help people, you know.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And guys, so be on the lookout because we're gonna have more guests in the near future. If you have somebody that has inspired you, like Abe has inspired us, please let me know. Send them on my way. You guys have a good night, a good morning, a good afternoon, wherever you are. Goodbye.
Adios.
Adios.